Hey, welcome back to Mill Yard. My name's Bill. This is Solutions Forestry. And where I left you guys off was I am working on a small sawmill shed to house all my sawmill equipment, bands, a sharpening station, so on and so forth. And I'm building it out of my own rough cut lumber. And I wanted to give you guys an update. I've done all the blocking this morning, and I didn't want to bore you guys with that. It's kind of tedious jumping in, jumping out, cutting and everything. So I'm at the point now where I'm going to deck it, and I'll show you where I'm at. I'll show you how I finished up the blocking and all that, and just show you what I'm working with, and let you see what we're doing. So I'm going to take you out of the holder here, and we'll give you a little view. So get my plane out of the way. So if you see what I did here was after fastening all the joists flush to the top, I went in and I put blocking in between the joists. And if this is your first time here, well, go back and watch part 1 and 2. But this shed's going to be movable with a bobcat. So 4 feet in, I doubled up a joist, and I also that'll make sense in a minute, but I put actually a 2x4 on the bottom of that and shot it in so when the forks come in, that they can be flush with this 8-inch piece on the outside. So if you see, that sticks down so that it's 8 inches top to bottom. These are all true 2x6 joists. The reason I went with 2x6 is, number one, they meet the span. These are right around 14 inches on center. They span this even at 16 inches on center. But what I wanted to do was, so I don't have to use hangers, I put in a 2x2 block underneath all of the joists. So I did 2x8 on the outside, and then I put a block in underneath, a full length block that's shot on both sides of every joist and in the center all the way down. So that makes it so that these can't go down, as opposed to using hangers. And then I put blocks in because any of you who have ever tried to move sheds with bobcats, and I've done a lot of it, if you get, let's say, a set of long forks, if you fork up to tilt back and you catch one of the joists, sorry about the air noise, it'll stop in a second. If you catch one of the joists, even if you have a hanger on the end, you'll twist the joist and you'll detach it from the outside. So what those blocks are in there for, and they're on both sides, you just can't see these ones, is so that the joist can't twist when the forks go underneath and start to pick up. And then, like I said, that 2x4 that's on the bottom there, shot into both of those, is there so that when the forks go onto the center here, I could get it with pallet forks and strap it off, as opposed to having to go pick up the long fork. So my pallet forks will reach the middle. So the tip of my forks would be under that 2x4 and level with this outside beam here. And then I can just strap it off and tilt it back, strap off to the carriage and tilt it back. So it's way overbuilt, but it's overbuilt because I wanted the ability to be able to move this shed without destroying it. So you can see the corner detail. This is the blocking, but they run in, they overlap each other all the way out. Also, I went through and I did add 4-inch screws, but I also put a timber lock into each joist, an 8-inch timber lock into each joist. Excuse me, sawdust in my nose. So these are not only shot and corner screwed, but there's an 8-inch timber lock in every one. And that's basically just to suck the whole mega beam out here together and to act as a structural member, in addition to the shear force on the nails and the pulling force on the screws, so that those joists could never get pushed down, or in the sense of picking up the whole shed, ever move up. So you can see we got a double around the outside. Now what I'm doing now is I'm basically ripping down material out of junk out there and getting ready to deck this thing. You'll see some of my station over here, what I got going on. I'm basically pulling all the 1-inch material out of any place that I have over here that's over 8 feet long and ripping it down into usable wood. I've got a bunch of candidates there. One of them's kind of a little thick, but the other ones are good. I think that big one over there where the end of my finger is also 1-inch thick. And then I've got an 8-foot bunk up here in the woods that's got some material on it that I can use too. I think I have plenty to deck the whole thing. It just won't all be the same color. You'll have newer stuff and older stuff. The older stuff is all dried. But I've got, I took out my 16-foot bunk and my 10-foot bunk, and I have an 8-foot lumber bunk here, and it's got a lot of 1-inch material on it. And I can see there's some 3/4 also. But I think the next thing that I'm going to do after I get you guys off video is come in here and pick this whole bunk up and take it down and put it back over there, kind of sideways in there, so I can pick through it. I do have a bunch of 1-inch material on my 16-foot bunk here, but the problem is I'm going to need this 16-foot material to build my kiln. So I think it makes sense that if I don't have to touch this, there's going to be, just looking at it, there's almost enough material sitting right here to build the whole framing part of the kiln for sure. And probably deck the floor, but not sheathe the outside. But there's tons of good material here. So I'm trying not to use any 1-inch material out of this. I've already pillaged this one. Does look like, I don't know, that one looks like it might be a little fat, but it looks like there's a 1-inch, oh, it's got a big hole in the middle. There's a cedar board that's 1-inch back there. I'll probably take that off and rip it down. This one was kind of rotten, so I'm not going to use it. But yeah, that's what's going on right now. I also have, looks like I may have a piece of oh no, it's got a crack in the middle of it. Never mind. And I do have some 1-inch slabs, like that one right there, sitting over here. That one looks like it was a truing cut, so that's not going to be true inch. That one looks like it's thick. It looks like maybe 5/4. So I might rip that one down and see if I can get a decent, actually down where it would only be 8 foot. Probably get a couple of boards out of that. So I'm actually going to take that out, rip that down. It looks like it's a little bit cupped, but that'll take care of itself when I rip it down. And then I'll kind of weed through this stuff over here and see if I have anything else. But that's what's going on. It came out super flat. Before I screwed it all together and before I did the blocking, before I blocked the joists, I squared it up perfect. So I'm going to double check it before I shoot any of that down. Right now what I'm doing is I have one little, I don't know if you can see it, the only one on the whole deck. I have a little hump right here. I'm going to plane that off really quick. And I just wanted to shoot a video to give you guys an update. It's going back into some weird grain here, so it's going grain's going kind of 2 directions. So I have to kind of plane it left-handed here to get it to cut good. So I'll just show you what I do when I do true all my joists. If I have one that's high, I'll just come in with a hand plane off the high spot in 2 seconds. Usually I'll take an 8-foot level if I'm doing a deck or something like that, and I will go around and check the whole thing with an 8-foot level to make sure everything's flat, and I'll plane the high joist. And if there's any way that I could bring up, when I tape joists, I double tape a high joist, I mean a low joist, or triple tape it if it needed it. I hate to work back in that direction left-handed, but that pretty much took care of that hump. So it's quick and dirty, easy way to take care of any bumps. That was really the only one on the whole thing. Other than that, it came out really flat. You can see that I put block in the middle. You know, everything's all shot together and screwed together. So that's kind of where we're at. Let me get you guys settled. Oh, God, my stupid tripod's falling apart again. This is the worst tripod in the world. I know this is horrible. So it's a little warm out here, but I'm going to get to shooting it together. I was going to tape it, but you know, nothing's going to get wet in here. So I don't see any reason to tape it. I'm just going to go ahead and shoot everything down with 2 3/8 ring shanks just because it's what I have. I was going to screw it down with 3-inch screws, but I was going to have to use 2 different kinds, and I was borderline on what I have lying around, whether I could do it. I also have, from doing jobs, taking things apart out in the field, I have this big bucket of screws here, and I did use up all my 4-inch ones, kind of shoring this thing up and throwing them wherever I could, screwing it all together this morning. Ones like this, there's plenty of them in there. I loaded up my tool belt with the 4-inch screws, and then went to town screwing anything together that was marginal, clamping anything that was apart and screwing it together. So it's been a good day so far. I'm going to keep working on the decking and see. I think I'm going to get everything laid on here first till it's covered before I screw anything down, because you know I'm finding a couple of discrepancies between thicknesses. Typically I cut everything, all of my flitch cuts and waist cuts I cut inch thick, because when I edge them down I can get stickers out of them. So I typically cut all my waist cuts inch thick, and what I'm finding is that I have some that are a little bit over, a little bit under, some are dry, some aren't. The ones that are dry have shrunk a little bit. So I'm trying to get the best balance so I don't end up with a big high spot, or, you know, when I put my walls on, that I don't have a place where there's a big bump in it. So I'm going to rip apart as much as I can, get this thing covered, maybe move them around a little bit until I get it all kind of right. And then when I get it all right, I'll shoot it together. And tomorrow we'll be doing groundwork. We're gonna go in, strip the topsoil, level a spot, get some blocks set, and then get this thing. It'll be topped by then. Get this thing moved over, set in place in its temporary / final resting spot, and we'll get ready to start cutting 2x4s and start doing walls. So with the 2x4s, I'm gonna have to do a bunch of batch cutting. I have some 2x6s lying around, but I got a lot of 2-inch material, so I'll just cut the 2x4 framing members, and I think that I have enough lying around for rafters, or I'm going to take that. I don't want to use that ash for that. Maybe I'll take one of my pine cants back here. See these pine cants that are lying around back here? Maybe I'll take one of those pine cants and rip a whole bunch of rafters out of it, or 2 of them and rip rafters out of it. So that's kind of what we're up to, and I think that pretty much explains everything. This obviously is frame super heavy. you know, my wife came out, she's like, why did you put a triple beam on it? And it's not really a triple beam, it's got blocking in here. Um, and it's all just made this way so that when if you move it with forks, you don't rip it apart. So that's what's going on. And as you can see, you know, we're going to have, you know, a cool pine floor. We got some pretty wide pine on there too right now. This one's just a wee bit thick. But and I've got some more over there. That one's a wee bit thick. If I don't have to use it, I don't want to. I'm going to rip out what's left over there, see if I have anything else over here to use, and get it all placed on here, and get that other bunk down here and see if that'll help out. I'm trying to get these bunks empty, so this one's going to be emptied, so that the next time that I stack on those, it'll be all like material. Let's just say it'll be 2x6s, 2x8s, 2x10s, or you'd never fill one of those with those, but let's say maybe 1x10s or 1x8s, or all 1x material, and load that back up. So I needed to clean it off. That one I think is going to go back in its home up in the woods until the kiln build. I'd like to use some of it for the framing, but I think it's the 16-foot material is probably too valuable for the kiln because I'm going to need that length stuff. So hope you guys are having a great day, and if you guys have any questions or anything, hit me up. This is I think part 3, and for now, this is Pirate Solutions out.